Why we shut the meeting down completely. It was just the easiest way to get out of it. So again, I really apologize for that. We will be moving to Teams in the future, so that does not occur again. If that does occur again in this meeting, we're gonna have to shut it down. We're just gonna have to shut it down. I don't know how else to go about it. So hopefully it doesn't. I apologize, Kara.
No problem.
Thank you all.
We're gonna ask Kara to go ahead and continue with her report.
Okay. Ronald, I was just getting to your favorite part of the report as we got cut off. So the other resolution.
Put them back up again so they
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah. So the other House and Senate resolutions that I want to speak about are SCR 25 and HCR 171, both from 2021. And SCR 25.
Go back one.
There we are. Okay. SCR 25 speaks about the establishing faith pods. And currently there has been no action taken on this. And then 171 is this request requires cultural-based programs and offerings. And currently, right now, those offerings are really limited within DCR facilities. So there are offerings at WCCC and also MCCC, and the Makahiki recently happened at Saguaro. But there's certainly an opportunity to expand to all facilities, and I will go more into that in the recommendation section of this presentation. And finally, SCR 108, which urged investment in reentry training. I do acknowledge the current DCR efforts here and simultaneously the need for further programming in this category. Okay, next slide, please. A few data points that we reviewed and I want to highlight here. So the GED completion rates are alarmingly low. In 2023, there were only 30 individuals across the system who completed high school equivalency, either HiSAT or GED. And I want to provide a little context for that number. So currently there are 422 individuals at Saguaro who still need GED completion. So this rate of completions of high school equivalency completions will not meet the needs of the population. And also, you know, I want to acknowledge the college programs and completions, but also that there's an opportunity to really expand here. And this, again, will be in the recommendation section, but the education completion rates overall are not meeting the needs of the population. Next slide. Okay, a few notes about parole, release and parole data. So we looked at the number of releases from prison and furlough sites. This is on the felony side. The time served, maxed out population, and the release to parole. And here's what we found. From November of 2022 to October of 2023, 47% of individuals maxed out of DCR custody, meaning they were released directly to the community without parole or furlough, or without parole, and 43% were paroled. At Halava, which is the medium secure facility here on Oahu, this number was even higher, with 67% of people maxing out. You'll hear Commissioner Town speak of this sometime about standing under the plumeria tree.
Yeah, that's where I meet him, under the plumeria.
Right.
That's not a good place to meet somebody.
Yeah, so that's what this number highlights. And when we look at research, people who max out of custody really have the lowest chance of success. Okay. And so just a few more notes on parole, and then we'll finish this section. There's currently no system in place to track how many parole denials result from incomplete programs and other reasons. So specifically related to the commission's statute, we are mandated to ensure that the comprehensive offender reentry system is working properly to provide programs and services that result in timely release. So without this parole data, we cannot make that determination. Also, 36% of felony sentences in DCR custody, of those sentenced to felonies in DCR custody, are extended beyond their minimum sentence. And finally, of the 142 individuals who applied for sentence reduction, only 19 were approved, equating to 13%. And why I want to highlight that here is Hawaii doesn't have good time credit. So sentence reduction is the only pathway for early release. Okay, next slide, please. So I want to highlight some positive reentry system points here. So I first want to recognize the dedicated staff contributions here. We used to talk about this all the time in the office, how there are diamonds that exist in the staff here. A few that I want to highlight: the chaplain at OCCC, who and the chaplain positions here are unpaid, the education supervisor at Halava, and so many members of the team at WCCC and more. There are more. This isn't conclusive, but I really want to highlight that these team members are doing the best they can with really limited resources. Secondly, resource fairs. We were able to go to several resource fairs this past year, providing direct access to community-based organizations before release. And then I want to recognize Waiava and Kulani as some of Hawaii's most rehabilitative facilities. And anybody who knows me knows that I love the Kulani Farm. It's one of the best rehabilitative opportunities in the state, and also acknowledging different the rehabilitative framework that's shifting and moving at WCCC. And finally, Hawaii is so blessed to have such great community partnerships here. There are way too many to name, but it's a rich network of people supporting those who are in custody and those coming home. And I just want to say these are highlights. This list is not exhausted. It's just some examples. Okay, so finally we made it. The last section of the report, realizing the vision, how to get there. So the recommendations presented here serve as a roadmap for making this vision a reality. So the recommendations here are broken down into 4 key focus areas, all aligned with different components of the commission's statute. So part 1 is related to statutory compliance with the reentry statute. Part 2 is about monitoring and reviewing reentry. Part 3, facilitating a system transition to a rehabilitative and therapeutic model. And finally, part 4, this is really about ensuring timely release on parole, also relating tangentially to preventing overcrowding. So for each one of these sections, I'm going to give a broad overview of the recommendations, and then I will highlight a few. For those who want to read them all, you can please go to the report. They're all there. So in terms of statutory compliance with 353H, the main focus here of the recommendations is to just move into alignment with what the statute is asking. So I'll only highlight a few. First is staffing at the reentry coordination office, and also the structure of the reentry coordination office. So there needs to be additional staff members in this office. They are holding the whole vision for reentry in the state. And they also need to have staff members at the facility level. So just kind of envision the structure. You have the centralized reentry office, and then staff at every single facility who really fulfill the function of reentry and make sure that there is alignment with the statute. Also, enhance the reentry checklist. It's just, it lacks the detail necessary for reentry. and standardize and strengthen jail reentry planning. For that one. So for the, forward
There
one.
we go.
Thanks, George. Okay, for comprehensive offender reentry plan, this needs to be updated to align with the transition to a rehabilitative model and the other foundational documents that were presented in this report. And then after those are revised, also implement that piece. In terms of the model programs and 6, employment, is really just aligning with the statute. The statute's very specific, so move into alignment with that in terms of the recommendations. And then for return of people in custody from out-of-state facilities, this is 7. We need to increase the return rates and address barriers that are preventing timely transfers. And one of the recommendations in this report is to conduct an independent review to identify barriers. So we have that list of reasons why people did not return, like non-compliance in programs, severe misconduct, escape history, refusal to participate in work furlough programs. That needs to be the beginning, not the end. There needs to be a deeper dive into why so many people are refusing to participate in programs, or why people don't want to participate in work furlough. There needs to be more information there so the system can shift and update to bring more people home to Hawaii within that 1-year time frame. And then for 8 and 9, this is again just moving into alignment with the statutory requirements. They're clear, they're defined, and DCR has indicated that they'll do so. And it's actually the same for 32 also, providing IDs upon release. And there are other recommendations throughout this report on how to increase the ID provision rates. Okay, next slide. Okay, 3 more slides, everybody, all right? Okay, so recommendations. This is related to part 2, statewide reentry. So this is related to education and programs, treatment, and rehabilitative and transition services. So in terms of education and programs, this recommendation focuses on expanding access to education. So when I envision this recommendation actually in place, it's thinking about what's possible through higher education, what's possible through college attainment. When we were in Las Colinas, there was a different feel to the facility. It felt more like a college campus. So the recommendations here relate to really shifting to a focus on education. And to do so, it's going to require prioritizing GED completion, expanding staff in this area, and also developing a statewide college network. This recommendation is near and dear to my heart because this is how I got started in this field. I volunteered at a college prison program at a juvenile detention center. So I know firsthand what college can do to people and how people can transform and see themselves differently as a result. So for the next section here, this still same slide, George. This is about treatment. So these recommendations are providing opportunities for meaningful programs and enhancing rehabilitation. This includes reducing idle time and increasing the opportunity to engage in meaningful activity. So here are some key recommendations: are conducting independent program reviews. We need to know if programs are working. We also, I have to mention this, we've received a really fantastic program proposal about a lifers and long-timers pod at Saguaro. It's thoughtful, and there are already, we know, over 110 people in custody who are interested in that program. That implementation of that program is important because it's directly from people in custody. It's designed and developed, which will make a difference. And then finally, equipping all people in custody with tablets. Right now, there's a shared tablet between large groups of people. If every single person had a tablet, that would make a big difference in terms of programming, in terms of communication with family. And also for people in protective custody, because oftentimes they don't have access to programs. I won't say oftentimes, most times they don't have access to programs in the same way that people in general population do. And then finally, this last section here on rehabilitation and transitional services. This section emphasizes the need to support people during the actual transition period from a facility, from furlough, from parole into the community. And this emphasizes what's needed for a stable transition. And what we keep seeing is that there are services and there are people, but there's no link. And the key recommendation here is to partner with Unite Us to provide that link. Unite Us is a real-time connection between people in custody and community services. There's a lot more written about Unite Us in the report. They're working on Kauai right now, and can fill that gap. Okay, next slide. So the three components here related to the transition to a rehabilitative and therapeutic model. These recommendations in terms of the rehabilitative model truly relate to shifting to a new correctional model. That model that we saw in part one, where we described the vision, and this really is a system-wide shift toward rehabilitation. It's a new way of thinking, a paradigm shift. So a few key recommendations here: update and implement new policies that align with this vision that we discussed, revise certain policies like this, the SHIP Special Housing Incentive Program at Saguaro. We should really look at that from the framework of this new model of corrections and restrictive housing policies, implement in-person visitation at all facilities, and creating a strategic plan for returning all people in custody to Hawaii. Okay, this is another one that's new. Oops, sorry, George, still on that one. Trauma-informed care here. So this is one of the most important sections of recommendations to me, because we know people in custody experience trauma at higher rates than the general population. If we don't recognize and treat trauma, we will do more harm and we miss the whole boat, really. So the two key recommendations I want to highlight here are implementing statewide trauma-informed care, and that aligns with Governor Josh Green's executive order, and expanding trauma treatment programs in facility. And one more, I forgot, standardizing human-centered language. So language that reflects dignity, humanity. So that would be like using the term person in custody instead of body or felon. We don't want words to be a record of the past, but rather a path to the future. Words really do matter. And also partner with Amend. I can't say anymore because I'm running out of time. Look it up in the report. Okay, then finally, and Ron, this one is for you. Transform facilities to Pu'uhonua. And Mark too, so many people. So this is a concept of a place of refuge, peace, and transformation. And this recommendation does something for me, because I think about what's possible in a place of refuge, in a place of transformation, in a place of peace. And these recommendations, I do not take credit for. These build on longstanding efforts that include recommendations from the Native Hawaiian Justice Task Force, HCR 85 Task Force, and various legislative resolutions. And this underscores the need for a systemic shift toward culturally rooted solutions and opportunities. The key recommendations here are to establish system-wide Native Hawaiian cultural programs and faith pods at every facility. We know Ohana Ho'opakele and other Native Hawaiian leaders and organizations are ready to work on these initiatives. And this is really an important one that's been said time and time again, and it's really an opportunity here to ground this in practice. Okay, last one. recommendations for ensuring timely release on parole. And that's exactly what the goal is here, ensure timely release on parole. The key recommendations are to enhance HPA data collection to track parole denials systemically, so we can understand why people are being denied parole in different categories. And then shift accordingly, and also conduct an independent analysis to investigate barriers to parole. So we see that one reason, like, we need to know why parole programs remain incomplete, why they are unavailable, why people are refusing to participate in programs. It just needs to be more information here so that we can take informed actions to move forward and increase the number of people on parole. Okay. Next slide, here it is. So this is a note from the first page of the report, also an image generated by, not by me, but by ChatGPT. But I really thought this so beautifully demonstrated this report's intention in determining where we're going, where we are, and how to get there. I am so grateful for the opportunity to contribute here. So grateful that Hawaii welcomed me, and I'm also available for any questions.
Thank you. Let's open it up to the public, any remarks right now.
We comment later.
Yeah, we'll come after that. Public testimony. Kat, I'm just gonna call you.
Yeah,
Just unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, Cara and commissioners. This is really important because we passed the reentry law in 2007. So it is really great to do this comprehensive review of where we are, where we want to be, and how to get there. So thank you so much. Awesome.
Love that you remembered the 3 points. That's a win, because that means I said them enough throughout the presentation that people will remember. Thanks.
Anybody else? Any comments? Go ahead,
Hey,
Ron.
Ron.
Ohana Hopakele wants to express our appreciation for this fine 88-page report. If you include the appendix, it's about 615 pages. I think Kara has left a mark on Hawaii, and we thank you for, even though it was a short time, I think it's gonna mean so much for us. So really, thank you. Mahalo from Ohana Hopakele.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else? The public? Mike?
Yeah, Kara, I want to thank you too, and I'm just letting it kind of marinate and thinking about it, so I'll have more to say later. Not that I ever don't, but I sat 8 years on the parole board, and it was transformative in terms of what I didn't know, what I knew, and now what I'm learning. 3 things come up for me. Children of prisoners, the conventional wisdom is of 10,000 prisoners, 70% of their kids will come back into jail or prison. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's conventional wisdom. And Roy Yamamoto, through Camp Agape, has done miracles through faith-based, culture-based, and hard work. So I want to recommend that. Second thing is escape. There's hiccups and there's escapes, and there's a chasm in between. But I think that I was never impressed with people being charged with escape that didn't really escape. There was a hiccup, or they're late, or who knows why. So I think that to me is a very important thing, because it slows down their ability to get out, right? And I hate, when I mentioned that the plumeria tree, I would drive up as a parole commissioner, chat with the gentleman under the plumeria tree. We made it a productive chat, but I didn't like seeing that because they're maxed out. Third thing is reduction of minimums. That's a huge thing on parole, and we get it. with no, not trying to offend anybody, we'd get a couple little sheets at the very end of the parole hearings and it was all a paper thing. I wanted to have an attorney or have the actual
Have a hearing.
hearing come in and have an actual hearing and find out if they deserved a reduction. Because what we say when we set, first of all, we set the minimums, which I have a lot of difficulty. We shouldn't be setting the minimums. But when we do, can we reduce them? We'd always say, hey, if you keep your nose clean, no misconducts, we'll reduce it. But we didn't reduce it because it's a paper chase. So those three things, the kids escape and the reduction just popped into my brain. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Ronald?
Yeah, I too, first of all, welcome back. It's like you never left us, but nevertheless, I would like to thank you for the comprehensive report and certainly this shows us what you've been doing here for the last 5 months. Yeah, but well written and very well researched. Thank you.
I'm looking at the slide number 16, which has to do with return of out-of-state individuals in custody. And, you know, you have the non-compliance with programs, which you addressed, that we need to, why are people not compliant? Why don't they want to go into programs? Why don't they want to go into furlough? But then the next one you have, which is the largest number, is highest, greatest category misconduct within the last 18 months. The mainland gets our best inmates. They do not have physical problems. They are not seriously mentally ill. They basically do not have major misconducts when they go up there. I've always been suspect of Arizona using that as a way to extend people's terms in Arizona. They put them in that damn 18-month-long SHIP program. And it angers me. That prevents people from coming back. And I think it is it's a transactional thing. It's how they get money. I know it's not even back. I'm sorry, I got my soapbox. Anyway, thank you for the report. It's very comprehensive.
Christian?
Thank you. This is amazing. I mean, you really set the foundation for reentry oversight. We needed that desperately. And so I'm just excited to have this report that we can move forward, we can build off of, move through. Kimmy's already excited to start meeting with people and find out the why behind all of this.
Yeah, but also you created the stage for her to be able to
Yes.
walk into this job and do it. I mean, that's what makes it different.
I pass the baton.
Yeah.
Fully yours now.
So thank you for setting this office and this reentry oversight portion of the office, which is so huge and monumental. Thank you for setting up for success. We miss you so dearly, but we're excited for you and we're excited for Kimmy to take the baton and run with it.
When Kara was at the point of physically departing, I shared with her the traditional story of when people come to Hawaii, they take a lei and they go to the ocean and you throw the lei into the ocean. And if it floats away, it floats away. Or if it comes back, that means you're gonna come back to the island. So I told her that you are a lei that we're throwing back in the ocean, but we're holding on the string to the lei and pulling it back so that you can always return when we need you. I don't know how to express the value of this document and the manner by which she laid it out. It's really giving us the roadmap as a commission to provide the oversight on our mandate now in terms of the reentry and how important it is, and gives us a means of opening up communication with DCR and others and on expectation, and how do we help them get to where they need to be based on the recommendations we're given. So we're very excited. You know, as we develop as a commission, this was an important document for us.
Huge.
Yeah, so we call this internally the CARA component. You know, or the Compani document. So thank you so much. This officially makes you a Kama'aina. And your husband. Yeah.
You're gonna be an LRB now.
And all that hard work that she's done in Hawaii and in, she'll be now in the Netherlands. From one extreme to the other. But we know we always have contact with her. So we're very excited, everybody, that the document has been laid, the foundation is set, and that we have someone to move forward in Kimmy to realize the implementation of this. Hey, Tommy, thank you for coming back. Appreciate you being here. But we'll move on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Let's have one, if we move on to our next agenda item on, we're gonna move on to, public comment. I'll open it up back up to, the community, if you have anything to say that was not on the agenda at this time. We're here to listen to your folks' concerns. Yeah, you got your hand raised, or was that just
Oh, that's just the mouth.
the mouse? Okay,
I do. I wanted to say our next meeting, we should have a better idea of what's actually gonna live, which bills are still gonna be alive. So I'm tracking everything and I'll keep you guys posted.
thank you, Kat, appreciate that. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we move on to agenda item number 9, the announcements. I asked, Judge Town wanted to make an announcement real quick.
Yeah, we put in the chat, I hope, because I can't get to the chat from my iPhone. March 5th statement. They call it a statement, but a ruling by the Hawaii Supreme Court, Chief Justice Rechtenwald, Justices Sabrina McKenna, Todd Edens, Lisa Ganoza, and Vladimir Devens. And I encourage you to print it out and read it. It's affirming principles of equal justice for all. It blended in a nice blend of our Constitution of the United States, which is the moral imperative of this great country. Ke Kanabai, Mamalahoi, and what I call polole, getting your head on right. I think they took a risk here. They're unanimous, and it talks about judging people on their merits, making our community be stronger, and enabling us to live our best lives, which is what I think we want for the people that we face. So I just commend it to you, print it out, and discuss it around the dinner table, and I did with my kids, and it's very interesting what they have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners with announcements? We will be going, we had scheduled ourselves to Kauai, but we were gonna change that to the Big Island. We'll be in Hilo on April 10th, 2025. And where we will start up our tours again. Yeah, and we'll be visiting the Hawaii Community Correctional Center at that time. So public meeting in Hilo, April 10th, and our visitation of the tour of the Hawaii Community Correctional Center. So
Ron, I hope we see you in person.
So with no further questions or announcements, I adjourn this meeting at this time. Thank you everyone for coming. Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy.